And here we are at the top of the hexagram in the sixth line of the fifth gate. The fifth gate is the gate of waiting, the gate of fixed rhythms, and the sixth line is called yielding. Think about compulsiveness. Well, that's part of the sixth line's early process as it goes through its third line phase. The need to act, the need to see things happen, the longing for manifestation. When we get to the sixth line, we find something very unusual. There's no polarity. We only have the exaltation. So it is being very fixed in a very special way. And it is called yielding. And the lifetime learning says waiting is never free from pressure, physical or mental, and is often punctuated by the unexpected. Ra said that this was his promise to every generator. It's what is built into their genetics. It's not free of pressure. It cannot be. It's not possible. And that pressure could be in the body or it could be in the mind. It is what the test is all about. You have to be able to meet it. Because if you do meet it, you get the unexpected. You get that thing that in any other circumstances you would not get in your life. You get exactly what's right for you. And it's unexpected, not in the sense of its value to you, but in its timing, because you can't control it. You don't control anything. This takes us back to the irony of logical energy, that it is suffused with faith and belief. There is all this faith built in underneath because nobody really knows whether the solution can ever be achieved and whether the leadership can ever take place. In going through the compulsive stage, the sixth line learns that it has the strength in it to stand the pressure of waiting. And that's about as wise as this fifth gate can get. In the exaltation, the growth of awareness that comes with bending to the universal flow, accepting that in one's fixed rhythm, despite the pressures, growth will be empowered and often through the unexpected. There is no planet in detriment. Each in its way, given the power of this position, will yield to the inevitable. This line is fixed in Neptune. This is a line with no detriment and only one point of reference, which is the Neptunian reference, the fuzzy veiled Neptunian reference. So in this sixth line, we can never really see it clearly. The generator wants a guarantee that waiting is going to be productive. And not only that, but they want to be able to tell you what they expect to get from it. And that is simply not allowed. It's not in the program to be able to do that. This particular gate carries so many impressive lines. It's so beautiful. There's so much awakeness possible because we're dealing with a fundamental aspect of all of our nature, regardless of whether we have the fifth gate in our design or not, because it's the very pattern in our cells. Ra always said human design is cellular knowledge, and it takes 7 years to incorporate the knowledge into our life, based on the fact that the vast majority of our cells are changed completely within a 7-year cycle. Some much quicker, of course. Here we are dealing with the cell itself. And look at what the basis of the cell is. We have inner peace. We have enlightenment. We have joy. And all of these things are in us if we honor the pattern, honor our own pattern, and we don't ask why. We just are. That's when we're healthy. If we're not ourselves, if we are not operating correctly, we're not truly healthy. And here's a place where we can really see what that means. Because every time we cannot fulfill our pattern, then we're doing damage at a cellular level. And we're not going through the evolution that is possible in the transformation of our cells. Millions of cells die every second. Each one has a design crystal and a magnetic monopole. And they are constantly going back down to the earth, and then new ones are coming up to replace them instantaneously. Every breath we take There is the old that is dying and the new that is taking its place. This is cellular. Each cell is yielding to the pattern. Gate 5 telling us that if we can't live out our pattern, we're never going to be enlightened. We're never going to awake and have joy and inner peace. We're going to be compulsive. It's just what's written in the cells. The first line, the basis of this process through gate 5 is called perseverance. What are we going to persevere with? Which track are we going to take? It's very hard for the 5-6 to escape the demands of society. The collective come along and they say, excuse me, I know you don't want to get involved, but we're taking you along with us anyway. So this 6th line is someone who's going to be pulled into the flow unexpectedly. They could be standing on the sidelines watching the river flow by. Everything's fine. And then all of a sudden a boat goes by and catches them. Unexpectedly, they find themselves right in the middle of the flow. The logic process, they'd love to kidnap all of these people that have the energy gates for logic and hold on to them and keep them in a cupboard somewhere so that they can tap into that energy whenever they need to really activate the logic process, which is so starved of energy. When you look at the logical process, you can see it does not involve the ego. There's no ego in logic, no logic in ego. There is an uncertainty in this 6th line about whether they can really lead or whether they can really go through this logical process and get to the solution and then be able to do something about that. Have it all have been worthwhile and of value. And we get to the end of this pattern process and realize that the pattern is everything. The logic here, everything. So where do we go? What's our next step? Oh, we're moving into the tribe. We're going right to the ego center, the heart center, and we're going to gate 26, the tribal gate of the egoist, the trickster. The 26 in the first line says, a bird in the hand. This is the lesson that ego has for logic. Be satisfied with what it is that you have. And if you can't be satisfied about it, pretend. So the grounding is coming in from gate 35 in line 6, and it's called rectification, which is kind of appropriate for a 6th line being a transitional line. The lifetime learning here is the energy to correct, which is something we would more usually associate with gate 18, which is logical, not abstract. Perhaps this gate of change and progress is ultimately helping to support the energy in gate 5 through a refinement of what is correct. Slowly but surely, one step at a time, deconditioning, experimenting, experiencing what changes, what progress comes naturally as you meet life as you truly are. The moon has been in gate 30 since 8 minutes past midnight, the solar plexus gate of the clinging fire. It moves into gate 55 at 10:01. This is the solar plexus gate, the spirit of abundance. This is individuality. So we know that there's going to be the potential for melancholy, and it's also the emotional wave here too. When we have some awareness around the mechanic, it doesn't mean that the wave goes away. It just means that we have some awareness around the mechanic. And having that awareness can actually change the way we meet the wave. It doesn't necessarily make the wave any easier, but when we stop trying to explain it or justify it and just let it be, we can have a very different relationship to the wave. I have read on Facebook that there are people saying they can teach you to flatten the wave. Why? Why would anybody want that? That's a bit cray-cray, really, isn't it? Because the wave is part of life. The ups and downs are part of the richness of the pattern, after all. We have gate 37 next. At 19:52, the moon steps into another solar plexus gate, another emotional wave. This is tribal. This is the ratchet wave. And this is my wave. I only have that tribal channel, that 3740. My experience of this wave is that it mostly gets activated around family, around loyalty, around the bargain. which of course is perfect, makes perfect sense, because these are all themes of the tribe as a circuit, but also of gate 37 with its family and its bargain and everything. And then at 5:39, the moon transits into gate 63, the gate of doubt. This is the logic circuit. This is the pressure to test the system. It's the gate that says why and wants an answer. And we're familiar with this energy now because it's logic. It's what we've been sitting in for the last couple of sun transits. We know that it's collective. Asking why gives you the opportunity to find an answer that you can share. And perhaps it will be of value once it's been tested and verified. And it will take humanity forward into a brave new world. Well, that's it for the 5th gate. We're moving into the ego, into the 26th gate tomorrow. I will see you then. We'll do the overview and we'll have the first line. Until then, as always, love yourself. Oh, deeply, madly, truly love yourself. And go gently.